Good morning, North Harmon High School. Welcome to Wednesday, April 29th, 2020, our 26th day of virtual learning. Today is a D-Day. Going to start today with some congratulations to our Skyland Conference Scholar Athlete. For the female scholar athlete for North Harmon High School is Jill Pasiga. Jill is a track and field athlete, and she is our Skyland Conference female scholar athlete. Our male scholar athlete for the Skyland Conference is Zachary Kovac. Zachary is also a track and field athlete, and he is our male scholar athlete for the Skyland Conference. So congratulations to Jill and Zach. Great job. Keep up the good work. Also, students, in your email yesterday, you should have received an email about the Why I Relay video that's being put together. Our Relay for Life is a fantastic event here at North Harmon High School. It's a very positive event. It's an opportunity for our students and teachers and community to come together for a good cause to support the American Cancer Society. It's always a great night here, very powerful performance. And one of the things that we do leading up to that is the Why I Relay videos, which is a compilation of pictures that people put together of why they relay, who they relay for. And there's an example on your screen right now. Thank you, Kelly, for being our spokesperson to sample what that looks like. So if anyone wants to, feel free to, students, check your email today, and you'll see a link in there to take a photo making a sign of Why I Relay. And parents, if you're listening, feel free to make this a family photo. You can send that back to the email address that was included in the email that you received, and make it a photo for the person that you care about, or maybe it's just a broader statement of why you relay. But if there's anyone specific in mind that you want to specifically give a shout out to as to why you are relaying, include that in the photo, and we'll be putting that together in a video, and we'll send that out when that is complete. So again, thank you for all those who are going to participate in that. I'm sure that we always have a great participation. I'm sure this year will be no different. So today I am in the Family and Consumer Science classroom of Miss Sarah Babb. So Miss Sarah Babb is a sewing teacher here. She does, we do some interior design classes. We do have a very thorough and comprehensive curriculum for our Family and Consumer Science program here. Some folks may remember it as once being called Home Ec. We teach a variety of cooking classes, international foods, culinary fundamentals, a variety of sewing and fashion design and classes like that. So we have Miss Babb as well as Miss Anderson, who are our Family and Consumer Science teachers. And for today's video, Miss Babb is going to show us how to make a 5-minute mask. So how you can make a mask using a sewing machine in 5 minutes. If you don't have a sewing machine, I'm sure that you can stitch it by hand, but it's going to take a little bit more time. But luckily, time is the one thing that most of us have a little bit extra of these days. So if you're interested in learning how to make a face mask, feel free to stay tuned to the following video by Ms. Babb and learn how to do that in 5 minutes. Have a great day, North Arlington.
Hey all you cool cats and kittens. I really miss you guys, and I really hope that I get to see you sometime soon. But until then, while you're at home hanging out, I know that Dr. Cottrell talked about some of the face masks that the Sewing Club have been making and giving out to people, and he put out my email and for you guys to contact me if you wanted to help, and which was so kind. And since he put my email out there, I had a lot of people reaching out to not only help but ask for masks. There's a lot of people that need them and not a lot of people that know how to sew or can sew. So I'm just gonna show you a quick 5-minute video on how to make a face mask at home. If you'd like to make one for yourself, even if you don't want to help the Sewing Club out, that's fine. You can make one for yourself, mom, dad, grandma, whoever. So I'm gonna show you really quick. Alright, so to start off, I just took some scraps of fabric. This happens to be from an old shirt. This happened to be from something my sister had up in her room. I cut 2 8x8 squares of fabric. I'm going to put the pretty sides together, so they're called the right sides. I'm going to put them together. I'm going to line them up. Okay, I'm going to sew the top all the way shut. I'm going to sew the bottom all the way shut, or I can leave a gap so that you can put filters or other masks inside out. For this one, I'm just going to sew it shut. So I'm going to sew the top shut. I'm going to sew the bottom shut. give it a little stitch, give it a little back stitch, stitch all the way down, stitch, back stitch, cut it. Then I'm going to do the bottom, sew all the way down. So I'm going to put it under, stitch, back stitch, okay. Then I cut 2 pieces of elastic already. An 8-inch piece of elastic tends to kind of work if you have a little bit of a bigger head, maybe a 9-inch piece or a 9.5. You take your piece of elastic. You have 2 edges that aren't sewn. You're gonna put your piece of elastic up here in between the fold of where you haven't sewn. You kind of just tuck that piece of elastic in there, and then you make the bottom stick out here. Okay, so right now you have a piece of elastic up at the top and you have a piece of elastic down at the bottom. If you have pins, I recommend putting a pin in here to hold it in place, but if not, the piece of elastic won't stretch at this point, so you're fine just holding it there. Okay, and then you're just going to sew a straight line all the way down, just like you did for the top and the bottom. Okay. Cut your thread. Now we're going to turn it over to the other edge. Again, we have our last open edge. We take our piece of elastic. We put it inside our open edge. We make a little sandwich. And then down here we make a little sandwich. And then you have your pieces of elastic up at the top and your piece of elastic at the bottom. Now don't forget, we have to leave a gap somewhere to turn it inside out. So we are actually going to stitch a little bit, back stitch, stitch all the way down. I'm going to stop, back stitch, pick my needle up, move my fabric just a little bit so I leave a gap to turn it inside out, stitch, back stitch, stitch all the way down, back stitch, and then pull it out. Okay, I'm going to trim up all my threads. So right now, somewhere on your piece of fabric, you leave a gap. Again, I recommend that you leave the gap at the bottom if you're using it to put a filter in, or you can do it over at the side, wherever's most convenient to you, and then you flip everything inside out. And then you have something that looks like this, okay? I would do 2 different pieces of fabric, so one you know is always on the outside, one you know always goes in towards your mouth. And then the last step is you're going to flip your mask upside down, so you're looking at the back. You're going to fold down a little bit, about an inch. Then you're going to flip it over. This is what took me the very longest. Then you're going to flip it over, and then you're going to kind of do this accordion fan fold thing. And you want it to look like that. Okay? Then we're going to put one final top stitch here, and we're going to put one final top stitch here. Okay, just make sure that if you did leave a gap and you want to put a filter in, this is where your gap should be. But if you didn't care, you didn't want to put a filter in, we left our gap over here, but now we're about to close it off. So this mask will not have a gap to put a filter in. Okay, so then we're going to stick it under. Okay, now we're doing something called a top stitch. So this stitch we are going to see. I'm going to do a zigzag stitch in order to reinforce it a little bit. And we're just gonna stitch it shut. Stitch, back stitch, stitch. Make sure I'm lining up my edges, nice clean edge. Last but not least, to finish it off, we just have to do the other side. And we have our 5-minute mask. And there you go. Nice and cute. I miss you guys very much, and I can't wait to see you. And I hope you're all doing really well. Take care.